Am I the antagonist for walking out of Thanksgiving dinner for having to sit at the kids' table? Last week, during my dad's stepfamily's Thanksgiving, I, 24M, walked out in the middle of the gathering. Growing up, I wasn't raised religious, but my father remarried into a very Mormon family when I was about 14. Although my stepmom is no longer actively LDS, she remains close with her family. While I'm not particularly close with any of them, I still attend family events and try to act civil because it brings my dad joy. However, this year was different, and I left abruptly during dinner, resulting in no one speaking to me since. These family gatherings overwhelm me immensely. When I say they're extremely Mormon, I truly mean it. My step-grandfather was a bishop for many years and at 75 already has 6 great-grandkids. It seems like there are 3 or 4 new babies every year. All of my cousins got married before the age of 20. For a while now, I've been seated at the kids' table with my cousins, but this year I noticed a change. I realized that all the cousins my age were allowed to sit at the adults' table after returning from their mission or getting married. Despite being the eldest cousin, I wasn't invited. Instead, I found myself sitting with a group of 10-15-year-olds whom I only see once a year. Dealing with kids isn't my strong suit, and I was essentially forced to babysit them. After enduring some baby talk, I attempted to move my plate to the adults' table, only to be told that there wasn't enough room. In jest, I asked if I needed to be married to join the adults. To my surprise, my step-grandmother responded by saying that marriage is what makes women real adults, so usually, yes. This comment left me dumbfounded for a few reasons. Setting aside the misogyny, I came out as transgender to them a few months ago and have undergone testosterone treatments, making it quite obvious to anyone with eyes that I am not a woman. Initially, my dad struggled to accept this news, but he is gradually making an effort to understand and support me. It's challenging for both of us, but I appreciate his willingness to try, hence why I attended Thanksgiving. However, the Mormon side of the family has not taken it well. They haven't made an effort to learn more about me or respect my identity. They never approved of me diverging from the mold of a good LDS girl. They even Photoshop all my piercings and tattoos out of family photos. Although they used to be polite, my step-grandmother's comment was intentional and aimed directly at me. I left my plate in the sink and walked out without uttering a single word. Later that evening, I called my dad to apologize for leaving without saying goodbye, but he declined my call. I tried again and he declined once more. Since Thursday, I haven't heard from anyone in the family. Am I the asshole in this situation? It's understandable that you felt overwhelmed and hurt by your step-grandmother's comment and the treatment you've received from your Mormon family. Your feelings and identity should be respected, and it's clear that they haven't made an effort to understand and accept you for who you are. You attended the gathering to make your dad happy, but there's a limit to what you should have to tolerate. It's unfortunate that your dad is not being supportive right now, but it's important to prioritize your own well-being and mental health. Am I the antagonist for wanting my sister to apologize after falsely accusing my child, lying and demanding money from me? About a year and a half ago, my little sister turned 30 and had a huge party. I made her cupcakes, helped make costumes for my boys for the party, and tolerated her constant criticism about all the times I hadn't been there for her and her husband leading up to the event. Around the same time, I received some unexpected money and used most of it to help my mom buy a sewing machine, along with giving her a few extra $100 that she needed. I had expected her to repay me at some point. That was the last time I spoke to my sister before she asked me to house sit her cats while she and her husband were away. In hindsight, I wish I had declined. At the time, my sister was renting a trailer that came furnished with a large television in the living room. During that weekend, the TV broke. She immediately blamed my youngest child, claiming that since he had once thrown something at a TV and cracked the screen, he must have broken it this time too. This despite the fact that she had 2 rambunctious cats in the house, who were known for climbing on everything. She demanded that we either pay for a replacement or give her money so she could buy a new one herself. We asked to see the broken TV, but she lied and said it had already been taken away. My aunt even offered to give her a replacement, but my sister insisted on receiving money instead. Only my father was allowed to inspect the TV, and he confirmed that there was no way my child had enough time near the TV to break it. My sister then proceeded to lie about the incident multiple times, claiming she did so to protect us because her landlord boss was angry and banned us from the property. We weren't even informed of this until after they had moved out. My sister is convinced that my husband will yell at her for all of this, even though the last time she visited our house, she was the one who was screaming at me for not allowing her to see her boys. She couldn't understand why I didn't trust her, given her propensity for lying. Lying is a behavior that my husband and I cannot tolerate, and my sister should be well aware of this. I still do not trust her enough to leave my kids alone with her, as I fear she will once again try to manipulate or extort us. According to our mother, my sister wants us to completely forget about the incident and never bring it up again. Am I wrong for wanting a genuine apology, instead of just lip service before allowing her back into our lives? Even though she is my sister, part of me doesn't want to reconcile after all that has happened. Currently, it doesn't matter much as she refuses to talk to us at all. However, I recently discovered that my parents took my kids to spend Thanksgiving with my sister and brother-in-law, and they lied to us about it. I haven't had the chance to confront them about it yet. Was I in the wrong here? Your sister accused your youngest child of breaking her TV without any evidence, demanded money from you as compensation, and lied throughout the process. Additionally, she has shown a lack of respect for your boundaries and has exhibited dishonest behavior. It is understandable that you would want a genuine apology before letting her back into your life. However, please keep in mind that as an AI language model, I can only provide a subjective analysis based on the information given, and ultimately, the judgment is up to you. Am I the antagonist for weaponizing my autism against a student? I am a 23-year-old female who teaches English at a private middle school. I genuinely love my job and have a strong passion for what I do. However, an incident occurred at work starting on Monday that has made me question whether I was in the wrong. One of the projects we assign to our 8th graders is a research paper on a topic of their choice, which they then present to the class. The other students are expected to take notes and provide comments, which contributes to their final grade. One of my students chose to focus his project on the impact of race on baseball and hockey, both of which he plays. It's important to note that he is white, as is everyone at my school, including myself. The school consists of a predominantly white and affluent student body. While he was presenting, I had to repeatedly ask a group of 6 boys to stop laughing. These boys are academically gifted and have a keen interest in historical time periods, often engaging in conversations about wars and related topics. Sometimes they can be disrespectful, but it never crossed a line that required me to contact their parents. However, this changed when I received their commentary papers. To my dismay, these boys thought it was appropriate to include racial slurs, including the N-word, in their comments about the presentation. I immediately emailed and tried to call the parents of all the boys involved. Fortunately, most of their parents were shocked and dismayed by their behavior. The situation further escalated when one of the boys' parents decided to check her son's phone and discovered that these boys were using racist, homophobic, and other bigoted language in their texts. One of the parents defensively argued that her son's autism prevented him from understanding what is socially acceptable, insisting that it was normal for guys like that to speak this way. As someone who is also autistic, I am well aware that some autistic individuals can harbor bigoted views. Nevertheless, I know that many autistic people are not bigots, and autism should never be used as an excuse for bigotry. Throughout high school and even in nerdy spaces, I have personally experienced misogyny directed at me and instances of racism from toxic individuals who identified as nerds, some of whom were on the autism spectrum. In my email response, I disclosed that I am also autistic and that I knew at their age not to use racial slurs. This response angered her, and she accused me of having internalized ableism and weaponizing my autism against her son. On Tuesday, I attempted to have another teacher whom these boys respect speak to them about the importance of refraining from hurtful language. Unfortunately, this conversation did not seem to have much impact. Even the boys who had their phones confiscated seemed indifferent and continued to laugh, showing no remorse for their actions. This morning, I reached out to some friends I know from a local support group for autistics and received mixed responses. While most of them believed I did the right thing, quite a few members advised me to reevaluate my own biases. So I am left wondering, am I the asshole? You are not the asshole in this situation. You did the right thing by addressing the boys' inappropriate behavior and contacting their parents. It is important to educate students about respecting others and not using derogatory language. The fact that one parent defended her son's actions based on his autism is not a valid excuse. As someone who is also autistic, you understand that autism does not excuse or justify bigotry. It is crucial to hold all students accountable for their actions and teach them the importance of empathy and respect. As for the mixed replies from your support group, it is important to remember that everyone has their own perspectives and biases. Trust your judgment and continue doing what you believe is right. Would I be the antagonist if I sent this screenshot to his wife? The man I dated in college, we dated and broke up 3 times between 2012 and 2015. I know I was foolish to get back together with him, but at that time, I genuinely believed he was the one. We are both 30 years old now. He reached out to me on New Year's of 2020 at around 3 a.m. through Facebook Messenger, expressing his desire to still be friends. By that point, he was already engaged to someone else. Even though I probably shouldn't have, something inside me felt compelled to hear him out. He essentially apologized for how he treated me in the past, which I attributed to the typical New Year, let's be a better person kind of sentiment. We met at my house instead of a public place because I knew it would be an emotional conversation. We sat on opposite sides of my couch and I prepared dinner. He genuinely apologized, providing specific examples. The apologies felt sincere. He shed some tears and displayed authentic remorse. Fast forward to the fall of 2021, and we've been sporadically conversing since the apology. My current partner, 27 male, was aware of each instance I talked to him, and I even showed him many of our messages. During his bachelor party, he sent me inappropriate messages and a video. He expressed how much he missed my body and such. He mentioned that he hoped I had made a move or given him an indication during his visit to my house that he had a chance with me. It felt like I was 19 years old again. I didn't know how to put a stop to it, and I should have. He asked me not to inform my partner, but I made it clear that I would not comply and that he needed to confess to his fiancée. This man has had a hold on me since I was 19, but I no longer wanted that. I didn't want him to have the ability to contact me, so I blocked him from messaging me on Instagram, Facebook, and Snapchat. Fast forward to last week's Thanksgiving. At some point during mine and my partner's drive back home from his relative's gathering, I checked my Instagram stories. I noticed that this man had viewed all of my stories. It was something I had never caught him doing before. I promptly blocked him on Instagram. Not even 20 minutes later, as we were entering the house, my phone lit up, and I received a Facebook friend request from him. I showed my partner, and he advised me to block him, which was my initial intention. I took a screenshot of my phone's home screen before opening the notification and blocking him. I've been contemplating for a week whether or not to take any action. This woman doesn't deserve to deal with a man who repeatedly tries to communicate with his ex during their engagement and marriage. I don't know her personally since we've never met. Should I send the screenshot to her? You are not obligated to keep this information to yourself, especially when it concerns the potential harm and deception that your ex is causing his fiancé. You have already made it clear to your ex that you will not tolerate his inappropriate behavior, and you have taken steps to block him from contacting you. Sending the screenshot to his fiancé may help her make an informed decision about her relationship and protect herself. It is understandable if you do not want to get further involved, but it is morally reasonable to consider informing her about what is happening. Ultimately, the decision is yours, and you should do what you feel is right for you and the situation.